This is our final output in psychological assessment, the test development research proposal. The researchers, yours truly, Rowena B. Enriquez, together with Mary Joy Humarang and Crystalline Nazareno. So our topic is Filipino Frontliners Self-Esteem Scale. Good day everyone, I am Rowena B. Enriquez from BS Psychology 2. Our research proposal entitled Filipino Frontliner Self-Esteem Scale, and today I will discuss the first part, which is introduction, review of related literature, synthesis, and the scope of limitations. Let's proceed to the introduction that tackles about the background of the study. It has been a year, a life-changing year, since news about COVID-19 later declared a pandemic blast like a bomb. I personally has an anxious mind what will happen next. Maybe I am one from a million people who can't stop worrying about the future. The useful things we can do right now is to follow the guidelines and protocols implemented by the government and World Health Organization. Despite of the dangers of this contagious disease, frontliners are still required to report to work. There are times they feel tired, but they keep on going. According to Gernberg and others, self-esteem can be understood as a central component of basic identity process. It is our self-image and how we see ourselves. And self-esteem could act as a protecting shield or buffer against the COVID-19 pandemic by connecting the individual with a large universe of meaning and values. The purpose of this study is to measure the self-esteem scale of the Filipino frontliners who are currently working from different establishments in the midst of pandemic and to correlate a psychological effect of self-esteem during life-threat situation. Next is the review of related literature. Curie of Fly and others in 2009 stated that increased self-esteem could increase our ability to exert our control over one's motivation, behavior, and social environment. Based on Becker, self-esteem is reinforced by social validation and the feeling of being a valuable human being with a meaningful role in a society given by meeting the standard of a given culture. Theory of self-esteem suggested that in self-esteem, self-meanings are verified and is enhanced individuals who are verified their identities. So those who are verified their identities see themselves as effective and competent. Another related literature was based on Clark and his colleague that high self-esteem may reduce disease impact and more effective self-management. Shea Hulse mentioned that self-esteem is knowing ourselves and what we can give to the world. According to Will Smith, self-esteem is the perception of other people in us. In this research, we will use the Rosenberg self-esteem scale to measure the self-esteem of the Filipino frontliners. Next is the synthesis. Self-esteem is the confidence in one's own worth. It is our perception of oneself in this time of pandemic. People in different parts of the world develop anxiety, stress, depression, and low self-esteem. People develop a terrifying fear of death because of the said virus, especially the Filipino frontliners who need to report to work. Self-esteem is considered a fundamental aspect of personal well-being. This pandemic showed us that Filipino frontliners with high self-esteem are resilient. The last part of my discussion is about next is the scope and limitations. This study focuses on the Filipino frontliner self-esteem scale in the midst of pandemic. The respondents were limited to selected 89 frontliners, 38 females and 51 males who are currently working as frontliners since 2020 to 2021 from different fields in Barangay Payapa Ibaba, Lemery, Batangas. For this method, we will use survey questionnaire that will be sent to the respondents via Google form.
So, have a pleasant day everyone. I'm Marjorie Humarang. So today I will discuss to you about definition of terms. So, mahalaga ang definition of terms sa ating research para malaman natin ang mga hindi natin alam na words at mga kakaibang words. So, number 1, attitude refers to manners with regards to a person, things, or events. Awareness refers to our perception on a situation. COVID-19, coronavirus, a highly diseases that threaten human population. Duties, legal obligation to the job. So next, factors. Influence the variable in a given circumstance. Fear, emotional response to that indicates low self-esteem. Frontliners, workers from different fields that is often public-facing job. Self-esteem refers to positive or negative way of people feels about. Statement of the problem. General. In general, the study aims to develop a skill which measure of self-esteem of Filipino frontliners with focus on the factors affecting self-esteem of the respondent. Specific. Specifically, the study will seek to answer the following question. What are the factors that affect the self-esteem of Filipino frontliners in the midst of pandemic? What are the psychometric properties of Filipino self-esteem in terms face validity, content validity, convergent validity, and internal consistency and reliability? 3. What instrument can be preferred for administration, scoring, and interpretation of the test? What is the scoring and interpretation of the test? What instrument item can be constructed based on the identity factors of Filipino frontliners' self-esteem? Objective of study. So, bakit nga ba mahalaga ang objective of study sa ating research? Dahil dito nakapaloob ang ating goal bilang researcher. So, in general, main objective of study is to determine a skill that measure the self-esteem of Filipino frontliners in midst of a pandemic. Specifically, the study aims to determine the factors that affect the self-esteem of Filipino frontliners in midst of pandemic. Determine the psychometric properties of Filipinos' self-esteem in terms of face validity, content validity, convergent validity, and internal consistency and reliability. Determine the factors that affect the self-esteem of Filipino frontliners in the midst of pandemic. Determine the instrument to be used for administration, scoring, and interpretation of the test. Determine the scoring and interpretation of instrument. Significance of the study. The generalization of this present study will be a great contribution to the vast knowledge and relation to students' achievements. Vital result of this investigation could be higher significance and beneficial, especially the following. Different institutions where the frontliners are currently employer where they can improve relationship to the workers. Different government agency where they can provide an effective interpersonal and work relationship, a comfortable work environment. Future researchers. The finding of the study could serve a wide information for a future researcher to conduct similar studies of Filipino frontliner self-esteem skill. To the professor, this research will aid them their discussion regarding related lessons. Overall, this research study will serve as wide information for a future researcher to conduct similar studies. So next is theoretical conceptual framework. This study will focus on Filipino frontliners who currently working in different fields in midst of pandemic. This study will base on a self-esteem theory that gives the importance of self-esteem and the Rosenberg self-esteem scale that will measure the self-esteem of Filipino frontliners during pandemic. So, figure 1 show the paradigm of study. So, input is similar to statement of the problem. Process, study focus, data gathering through survey, questionnaire, test items, construction, validation. Output, Filipino frontliner self-esteem skill in the midst of pandemic.
Good day, everyone. My name is Nazareno, and today I will discuss the methodology, which consists of research design, sources of data, participants of the study, data gathering procedures, sampling technique, statistical treatment, and research instrumentations. Research design. This study will employ descriptive quantitative design, which aims to determine the profile of respondents. It is used to describe various aspects to the phenomena being studied. We will use the descriptive type of research by using the validated questionnaire as a tool in gathering data. This type of research is to describe the data and characteristics about what is being studied. Data will be gathered and descriptive statistics we will use to analyze such data. The descriptive method is to provide an accurate description in a certain thing to analyze data. It involves adequate and accurate interpretation of findings and data. Survey questionnaire is the primary source of data. Secondary source will basis on journal articles and social media. Sources of data. We will devise a questionnaire about the topic and validate it for approval of our advisor. After that, we will send a link that will be distributed to the respondents in the frontliners in Barangay Payapay, Lemery, Batangas. The survey questionnaire contains a Rosenberg scale that will be used in measuring self-esteem scale. Once we receive the response in the Google form, we will go into tabulate it and to be computed, and we will interpret and gather data and evaluate it. Participants of the study. We will use purposive sampling because of the criteria that are needed to be met, such as the age and frontliners from different fields in Barangay Payapay, Lemery, Batangas, such as health workers, teachers, policemen, barangay or government employees, security guard, merchandiser, pharmacist, and store owner. The age needed in this study is 22 to 70 years old, both male and female, and are currently working during pandemic in year 2020 to 2021. In data gathering procedure, first, we will review the related literature that are related to self-esteem scale. Second, we will devise a questionnaire about the topic and validate it for approval of our advisor. Third, we will construct an online Google form that will be sent to the respondents. Fourth, the survey questionnaire will contain a Rosenberg scale that will be used in measuring self-esteem scale. Once we receive all the response in the Google form, we are going to tabulate it and to be computed. We will interpret the gathered data and evaluate it. We will seek approval and validation by our psychometrician. Sampling technique. In gathering participants, we use purposive sampling techniques that describe the situation and phenomena that are being studied. The respondents include Filipino frontliners in different fields in Barangay Payapa Ibaba, Lemery, Batangas, who are currently working during pandemic, such as health worker, teachers, policeman, government employee, security guard, merchandiser, pharmacists, and store owners that range from 22 to 70 years old. We will use Rosenberg's self-esteem scale that is needed to meet the self-esteem scale of the frontliners. Statistical treatment. Ranking was used in showing the relative position of the respondents in numerical order based on the responses. To determine the profile of the respondents, percentage will be used with the formula of P is equal to F divided by N times 100, where F is the frequency and N is the total number of respondents and 100 is the constant number. Research instrumentation. The survey questionnaire that will be constructed through Google Form will be sent through the use of social media and will be validated by the registered psychometrician.
We would like to express our deep gratitude to the frontliners of Payapa Ibaba, Lemery, Batangas, who serve as our respondents, to Sir Michael A. Mendoza, who served as an advisor and the person who approved and validated our research proposal, to our team Payapa, for the cooperation and hard work and teamwork, to our Almighty God for giving us strength, knowledge, and wisdom to fulfill this research proposal. Thank you for listening.
Yee! Export ko na.